hour. Danny Knowles with the Knowles Group bringing you the show, of course. And by the way, the Dow was up today. The NASDAQ was down today. Pretty good day as we still await this potential peace deal, I guess you would call it, or whatever kind of deal with the Iranians. We've just been negotiating their surrender for months now. They just haven't come all the way around on it. They're defeated, but still trying to hang in there like a hair in a biscuit. So if anything develops on that today, we'll let you know. Price of oil continues to either stay steady or go down. You know, all this hand wringing over oil, right as of today, it's only up $7 since all this started. So just take note. Eventually, hopefully, that matriculates its way to the gas station. But that continues to be in the news. So the markets have had a pretty good week so far. I always talk about the market close, but Danny and his team look way down the road further than that, whatever's happening today. They actually look into the past just as far to figure out where things are going with certain arrangements, certain portfolios. Hell, I don't even know how they do it. I just know that they've got some time-tested techniques that can steady your money, give you some calm, give you some sound advice, maybe even some tough love advice on your portion of the commitment to get you to your goal. But even figuring out the goal, when can you retire? How much do you need? By what date? All that stuff. You can throw a dart at it, or you can actually plan it, calculate it, and move toward it with Danny Knowles and his team at the Knowles Group. Check out their show here on the station, Understanding Money, on Saturday and Sunday, and it's a very informative show. And tell them we said hello, and sit down with them and see whether you're starting out or starting over or whatever's happening in your life. You just want to get your money on track. It's the KnowlesGroup.com, N-O-L-E-S, the KnowlesGroup.com. Well, I've kind of opened up a can today, which is what hosts will do from time to time over this data centers. And it's because we can argue the merits of the centers, and I'm still trying to get my head around some of the dynamics of what's happening in communities. Some of this is a little bit alarm, but some of it's legit. But what I do know is politically, just as a political calculus, the Republicans need a more comprehensive message than having some people saying blank check to all these fat tech companies to do what they want. And the other side is complete paranoia and shutting them down for an arbitrary period of time, like a whole year. It may not take a year to figure this out. It could just take a few months to come up with a way and a process that's fair to both the development of these things and the citizens. By the way, I heard a woman today somewhere on the news. She was local. She kind of had a point, but she was also kind of stupid. I think she's in some kind of elected office, but she was obviously opposed to the centers, but saying, you don't see them building them in Mountain Brook or some of these other so-called affluent communities or in Vestavia. She's right, and the people of Mountain Brook wouldn't put up with it for 5 seconds. But the main reason for that, I don't know that she's geographically inclined, but I would suggest this woman get a damn map out and look at the available land around the city of Birmingham. Mountain Brook is landlocked. Vestavia is landlocked. Homewood is landlocked. They're not going to put these things. There's nowhere to put them, with the exception of the Lakeshore Valley, which had a lot of wide open space. So the places they're going to put them naturally have to be big enough to plop a giant building down on, which means a lot of my rural brethren are going to be on the receiving end of a lot of this stuff because that's where the land is. So some of these congested urban areas are not going to get it. And by the way, it's the people of Mountain Brook. Look at me defending Mountain Brook. They didn't cut this backdoor dark of night deal where you didn't find out about it until it was too late. It was the city of Birmingham and some other officials from your own backyard. We got to police our own in these matters. And right now I'm calling out Republicans for not having a clear enough stance on due process. And the Democrats got to clean their house up too, because your own public officials that on one hand will talk about embracing these socialists, looking out for the little guy. On the other hand, they're taking big, fat, sugar daddy corporate guys' money to put these things wherever the hell corporate, big, fat, sugar daddy, data corporate guy wants to put them. Leslie's on a cell phone. What's up, Leslie?
Yes, don't forget this is the original Leslie. Okay.
The O-L.
All right.
Okay, I got it.
All right, Leland. I know you do the homework, and I'm just kind of going off the seat of my pants right now. Last week, when the data center conversation took a little bit more magnitude between the bombings and the war and everything else going on, something occurred to me. Now, since Bush 2, there has been an attempt to somehow get more taxes from either our cell phones or from when we shop or for somehow where the people are in proximity to this data center. And lo and behold, if I didn't hear, Elizabeth Warren wants a flat-out tax on the data centers. And we're not talking about just taxing the business. We're talking about taxing the people. And then on top of that, I heard Bernie Sanders said that he's recommending a percentage of the business proper to be given back to the government.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Right. But I know everybody's talking about infrastructure and where's it going to go and looking at the land and all that. I am weary about this because I think it's another way for them to attempt to tax us even more. That's my
certainly. Anytime there's a pot of money, Democrats lust to take some of it for themselves and their bad ideas. There's an old saying that if it moves, they tax it. If it keeps moving, they regulate it. When it stops moving, they subsidize it. This is their business model. This is how they throw money away. And so, that's the other extreme, the blank check sort of Tuberville approach. And y'all, look, I like Coach. I'm probably going to vote for Coach. There's no doubt about it. But I think there's a tactical shift they need to make in the messaging and show more sensitivity to people that have real concerns, or he's going to screw up and have a close race, which he shouldn't in this weird time that we're in. But back to the Democrats, they're on the opposite other extreme. They see a pile of money and they want to dig in. They want some for themselves. These people are thieves based on their original political ideology. You cannot call yourself a socialist or even a super tax and spend Democrat without being a thief in your heart.
To me, it just smells of another tax. And that's my take, and I'll let you go off and talk about it more.
Well,
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Leslie. And look, I don't mean to bash the power company, but they're on a PR offensive right now saying, we paused rates because we love everybody. How long? I mean, that ain't going to last. That's to get ahead of this because the rates will go up. There's all these politicians, including Trump's administration, saying, well, we've made sure they're going to pay their own way. Yeah, for now, that's starting with the construction, but this is an ongoing enterprise that will, as I pointed out before, will change. The space requirements will change. The technology will change. Its control of our government will change. That's one of the bigger, deeper layers to this, is this tech owned by these companies will eventually steer the outcome of elections. And that's who runs the government, who regulates them. Do you really think they're going to keep paying through any kind of nose of theirs if they can control everything with their thought monitoring and their flock cameras and their data gathering and their surveillance and they're reading your thoughts? Hell, they know what your cat thinks. And that's a huge mystery because I can't figure it out, AJ. I got 2 of those things. I can't figure them out. But the AI, with all the upside potential and the promise, comes with consequences, and there will be. It is just let's just talk about infrastructure. And I got all these calls, and I need to get to y'all. Infrastructure itself, we're so neglectful because it's not a sexy topic. And I've talked about this before. I remember going to a developers conference once, and the guy said, if you can't flush, you can't develop. And that's a simple way to put it. We have failed the country on our water systems, on our pipelines. There are these huge threats right now coming in from Iran into these antiquated systems. We've known for years our grid is fragile and could just come apart. We're so vulnerable to EMP attack, failure, fires, weather. All of our infrastructure grid across the country has tremendous pressure on it because it's been mismanaged by mediocre morons that get these jobs because they know somebody at City Hall or on their regulatory bodies or whoever. And you've got brilliant people that also work with these same facilities that have been howling at the moon about these things, but you can't get these mediocre people to talk about it because it's not sexy. to put in a sewer line down the middle of your main street. People just take that stuff for granted. Highway funding and all that. We talk about our highways because we see and feel that every day when we drive on the roads. But this is, in some ways, big 800-pound gorilla corporate behemoth stuff, but it's also infrastructure. Our systems will run on it. And the current infrastructure, both to feed these things, the water service, the electrical grid itself, they're not capable at the moment. And you can forget all your. I saw a story today where they're going to put a solar farm in East Alabama to help provide electricity with the data centers. Those things cannot generate enough electricity for these damn data centers. We're going to have to explore nuclear. There needs to be a real look at that. We're going to have to explore some other ways to generate this kind of power, or we will pay for it.
Cow farts.
Cow farts. They already tried that, AJ. Occasional Cortex said we'd all be dead by now. 8 years ago, we'll all be dead in 12 years.
But don't they like renewable or reusable energy?
What?
Cow farts, methane gas.
Yeah, it is. They eat the grass, then they fart, and
you think power up the data center.
That's like in the Thunderdome in Mad Max. They ran it on pig poop.
See?
I remember the Tina Turner speech about pig poop. That was a great scene, man. She was awesome. Go back and watch that movie. She's brilliant. Tom is in Clear. What's up, Tom?
Hi, guys. I just wondered which one of y'all knew which Democrat introduced and passed the tax on Social Security in 1980.
It was probably more than one of them. I would suspect Kennedy had something to do with it. I don't know who was the lead dog on it. I do not remember that.
The lead dog was the Joseph Biden.
I'm sure.
If it, like you said, that's all they know is tax and spend. Have a good day.
I mean, if there's a pot of money, they're going for it. I remember distinctly. Talk about water systems and all this. I'll tell y'all an old man story. I've tell these stories over and over. Forgive me if they change a little bit. I'm a young reporter here in Birmingham. There's just been a major lawsuit. I think it was called the Cahaba River Society or something. And they sued Jefferson County for dumping poo into the Cahaba River. The sewer system had been neglected and was degraded, and it was poorly managed, just like we just found out with all the Birmingham Waterworks mess. What a giant mess they had, and they had polluted the environment. The group won the suit. So a judge, I'm pretty sure it was federal court, or granted, y'all give me some grace here. It's been 30-something years. Federal court said Jefferson County had to spend like $1 billion, and back then that was a staggering amount of money to fix the sewers. And so I remember that day I ran out. I had to go down to Jefferson County to get their reaction. I went over to the Cahaba River Society office. They had a little office somewhere. I think it was in Cahaba Heights, if I remember right, to get their reaction to the suit. We were just all over talking about this new thing. But I remember telling the photographer, and you just knew that, and I was cynical of government even then as a reporter, a young reporter. I was like, there's going to be so much corruption. If they got to go out and do bond deals and generate this kind of money, there's going to be so many people get in trouble over this. Jefferson County's not sophisticated enough to handle that big a project and it not be a giant mess. And y'all remember what happened, don't you? Soon as Larry Langford got a chance to get a new gold watch, he was doing deals with Wall Street with the bond swaps and getting himself thrown in prison. It was the same thing with a series of county commissioners that all went to jail. They got in trouble for various elements of all that. And so what's the moral of my story right now? Because, again, that was infrastructure. That was sewer systems under the ground that two people don't give a damn about because we can't see it every day. But it's so essential to us surviving to be able to flush the poop out of our houses and go somewhere. We need to poop to go somewhere else. And so you got this huge pot of money. So largely it was Democrats and Republicans, by the way, before you get all partisan. They dug in, and it all went to crap, and it took them forever to get it fixed. And some people claim it's still not as good as it could be. The point is, there was a big old pot of money, and everybody had their hands out. And you take a bunch of easily bought out, again, largely mediocre, talentless people that get themselves in positions to have some say in it, and then it all goes to crap. That's just one life experience. Now, compound that by, 10,000, because that's where I forget what the total number is we need in the country, but that project represents probably one data center deal in modern money, in 2026 money. Now take that project and run all over the country with these local politicians and governors that are swayed and these big, massive companies that are just rolling into town, taking everything over. There's going to be so much corruption associated with this. And yeah, Pocahontas, or I like to call her Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren and fools like that, they'll have their hand out too. They want a piece of it. Oh, it's for the people. It's for the people. I'm going to get me a beer. She can kiss my ass too. She's on the other extreme. I'm ornery today. What's wrong with me, AJ? I need better sleep. I think it's because I was pouring concrete all morning and I'm tired. Storm Restoration Roofing, let's talk. That's Greg Nelson and his remarkable company that can absolutely get you straightened out if you wind up with roof issues. I get it. If you don't have roof problems right now, you're not even listening to me. You're not even listening. You got a nice house. Your roof's fine. There haven't been any storms. You're not listening. You better listen because it could happen overnight. One afternoon, the wind comes up and there's hail and there's sticks flying around and stuff starts to happen. And then the other thing, of course, is just erosion in time. Roofs have a lifespan. We all need to know somebody in a pinch that can handle this stuff, and it is my man, Greg Nelson, and Storm Restoration. If you find yourself in a crisis, that means water's coming in because the storm just hit, and you need some help right now, and you need to know that you can trust the helper. It's Storm Restoration. These folks have been around. Greg himself has been doing this almost 30 years, and he's got his whole family involved. This guy's going to take care of you. He'll get you dried out and tarped up and then work with your insurance companies to get you fixed. If it's a full replacement, he's got finance companies too that can help offset those out-of-pocket costs. That's nice. He's a good dude. Here's that number. Stick it where you can get to it. 205-542-3531. 205-542-3531. Storm Restoration Roofing. Axiom Tax Resolution Group ready to get you all straight when it comes to your taxes. If you're still behind the eight ball, some of you filed extensions back in April. That brings you to about now. I think it's, if my calculation's right, it's somewhere around August when you got to square up. Y'all, before you make another miscalculation or overpay, really, because if there's a program you're eligible to settle for less, I'd take advantage of it. It's why those programs were invented to begin with, so that you can get these things off your back and behind you. The main thing is once you engage professional help like Perry Cronin at Axiom Tax Resolution Group, the harassment can immediately stop when you assert yourself because that's the law. And the agencies are not going to abide by that until you do so. You need to know how to do that. This is what Perry does. Perry is an absolute expert. There's nobody in this country that knows more about this stuff than him. They're just not. We're so lucky to have a practice like this right here that can help us when you get behind the eight ball, so to speak. It is, I don't know how people sleep at night when they've got this kind of fear of your own government coming after your money. Let Perry help. The Fresh Start Initiative could get you settled for 80% off that debt, and Perry's ready to help you figure it all out. Axiom Tax Resolution Group. Again, he'll sit down with you right here, face-to-face around Birmingham, 205tax.com, 205tax.com. Here's Boomer up next. Boomer, what's going on, buddy?
Man, it's another beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm too blessed to be depressed and doing my best and letting God do the rest. How about yourself?
I like all that rhymes. He was busting a rhyme and stealing AJ's material, but that's okay.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
kind of slid that in there.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Absolutely. I got to look up to my my stars, I guess, my radio stars. Hey, check this out. You know how several cities here in the eastern part of Alabama have had large corporations to just totally either be bought out, scuttled, or whatever, and now their remnants are just sitting there.
Yep.
For example, we could say Alex City. We could say Childersburg with their they've had many plants there over the years. Bonnet, you had Kimberly Clark, you had at one time the military had the arsenal over there, and they gave that to the city of Childersburg. And then you got Gadsden, you've got the old tire plant. You know, why don't we look at everything that I just named? All had their own power plants.
I don't know. Did they have their own power generation on site for those plants?
Yes.
Well, there is a plan, and Trump's talked about this quite a bit, to co-locate the energy production with the facility, and that does make a lot of sense because you lose some of that efficiency when you transmit that kind of – hey, Boomer, hang on. I want to finish this with you, but we just got to hit this bottom of the hour. Y'all hang on. Leland Live. Back in a minute. Stay tuned. Hey, it's 3:35, Leland Live. Y'all get on back in here. Michelson Laser Vision bringing you the show tonight. If you've not checked into Lasik and you're wearing glasses or contacts right now, listen to me. I'm telling you, I was just like you. If you're reluctant, I was very reluctant. I was a hell no. You couldn't talk me into it. And I still, the day I went down to Michelson to meet with them and get to know how they did things, they wanted to advertise here on the show. And I really go to a lot of detail to vet the sponsors on the show. And I already knew their reputation. I knew they were the best, but I didn't understand anything about how the procedure worked. So I went through their program, and that was when I changed my mind. I literally just educated myself a little bit. That should be a good lesson for the rest of life. Just instead of being hard-headed, think about it and do your due diligence. Let me put it that way, and find out what things are about. And so when I understood it, it made sense. And many of you know the backstory. Dr. Michelson said, well, let's take a look at you and see if your eye health is good, if you're a good candidate, and what kind of vision correction you need. Turned out I was an easy fix. He told me that. I scheduled the surgery. Quote, pun coming. I haven't looked back. I would do it again. I would do it again tomorrow if through age or whatever, my eyes start to fade. It's been 7 years, so I know that's a possibility down the road, but so far so good. I've got friends that are 2015, have been that way for 15 or 20 years. It's Michelson Laser Vision. This is the best place to go. These are the people I trust, the legendary practice, the very first laser, the latest technology, the most experience, and they're good people, everybody there. Amy's my buddy there. She takes care of a lot of stuff for us. And, of course, both Doctors Mark and Dr. Jennifer. And I don't want to start leaving people out. But, y'all, it's Michelson Laser Vision. They're downtown. Quick note, UAB Highlands. It's not in the big UAB complex. If you have never been over to Highlands, it's a few blocks over. They got their own dedicated parking lot, easy in and out of facility just to go get this checkup done. It's michelsonlaservision.com, michelsonlaservision.com. Let's bring Boomer back in. Boomer, I think you were making a point I want to make sure we were clear on. Is your suggestion that we take these old abandoned properties in these towns and use those for data centers?
Yes, sir. Because the infrastructure is already there. You got lakes. You got the lake in Alex City that could supply the water. People are getting off-puttish about the water usage on these plants. These plants are using a system that circulates water to keep things cool, kind of like a cooling tower, like you would have at a nuclear power plant. The water that goes in and the water that comes out is the same water. It's not, they don't add chemicals to the water like a radiator. You put coolant in with your water and a radiator. They don't do that. They just run the water.
Well, that's generally true, but there has been some contamination discovered near these things on surface water. You've got stories about people's wells collapsing that are in proximity. If they're getting below the surface water for some of these, I still don't know where the hell they're going to get the water for the one out in Lakeshore, even though we call it Lakeshore Valley. There's no lake over there anymore, but
there's already a data center over there at Lakeshore. We built it back in 94.
It's not the same as these things. These things,
no, it's not near as large.
And when they do use the water, there's some off-gassing and some evaporation that happens as well. And some people are concerned about the volume loss. Then I hear statistics like this, and I can't verify it, that these things don't use any more than a golf course that has to irrigate and keep its lawns green all year. And maybe there's some comparative analysis to that too. But yeah, the point though, Boomer, I think based on your thoughts and what I've been talking about is we've all got a lot to learn about how this works and the consequences of it. And they're not giving us a whole lot of time to figure that out.
To look it all up. Yeah. But as I was saying, I mean, as far as you could put peakers in these locations, which is a peaker is a gas-fired energy making unit. You know, it's like a gas-fired power plant. They're very quiet. They've got a couple of jet engines in there that turn the turbines and supply the power. And you barely can hear the things. And there's already large major gas lines available for them to tap into for just electrical use on them.
Yeah, there'd have to be
you've got the lakes, the water.
There'd have to be a good sized footprint. These things are way bigger than and I'm very familiar with all these places you're talking about because I grew up over in the east side of the state. We had a lot of textile infrastructure that went out of business. Some of these buildings, the existing buildings on those sites would not be suitable. They're not. It comes down to the insulation efficiency. What?
Yeah, they'd have to demo all the buildings and everything, and it just used, but you still got the infrastructure there to use underneath. But what we're talking about is something about the size of the Mercedes-Benz. It's just one big building as long as Mercedes-Benz is, and about as wide.
As long as but there's bunches of them. I mean, there's hundreds of them planned for Alabama. And the thing is, again, Boomer, I'm not opposed to them, but we need a better way to do this. We need a fair way to do this. People need to have input. We need to understand it. There needs to be a lot of legit education as to what these things bring when they come so that people don't feel put upon politically. And that's my biggest point today, is the Republicans have either been ham-fisted and just taking the president's line and running wide open with it, and Democrats are showing some concern, at least here in the governor's race, and that's a mistake on the part of the Republicans. They need to be more open to regular people having some input on this before we get run over by these big, giant companies. Thanks, Boomer. Appreciate it, buddy. Glad you're able to stay over with us. And we'll get there. And I've said it over and over, and I'm going to have to repeat it because people, again, half listen. This rant today, this stump that I'm on, is not against data centers, but I'm against the way we're doing it. I believe Trump's right. We're in a war with China. We're in a foot race with China to get there first. We got to go. True. But we don't have to railroad people to do it. The other extreme would be the Democrats that call for complete moratoriums and before they can, what they're doing is holding these projects hostage so they can get, like our previous caller pointed out, taxation or even some money for themselves in their campaign coffers. They see there's a money grab here, so they're wrong too. Somewhere in the middle is a solution for us to build the kind of infrastructure for the future of this country, but do it in a way that just doesn't harm communities. And I'm still worried about what's left behind when we don't need these big, giant data centers anymore, and that day will come. Wendy's up next. What's up, Wendy?
Hey, Leland. Question. Have you heard anything about the data center water issue? Supposedly there is a bacteria that's released from the enclosed or closed cell water source. Has anybody said anything or looked into that any further?
Yeah, now I've only seen, and again, when I say I've heard about it, it's people that are naturally, they're opposed, they're activists that are making their own videos where they go out and water test near these facilities for groundwater and are showing these measurable levels of some kind of biological agent that's suddenly there that wasn't there before. Whether it's harmful, I don't know. I've still got a lot to learn, and I'm admitting that right off the bat. But some of the things we're seeing, like over in Georgia, I was watching a lady who lived near one. They took some of their land through eminent domain. They didn't give them any choice. And now they used a well system, and their groundwater, all their water in their house turned brown. Everything changed color. Their clothes turned to that same color in the washing machine. The health testing on their water is no good. And then there are other people that go out and find what they believe are, they would call contaminants suddenly in the water system. And again, there's different kinds of water. There's subsurface water underneath the ground that is tappable and available. Alabama sits on rivers of these things, which is, I think, the draw for some of these plants. And then there's surface water, which is, it's already pretty contaminated with farm runoff and agricultural runoff and people putting stuff on their lawns and everything else that happens. So, but contamination is a concern. And if it's not contaminating the systems, I'd just like for them to tell us and hold a big town hall or give us the information on everything that's involved. And then we can make a fundamental decision. Some communities would welcome these things.
Oh, I agree. I just didn't know if anybody had heard anything about the bacteria. Supposedly it's antibiotic resistant from what I was reading.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that, but I don't have any way to verify it.
But I don't want to. Right, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
Thanks, Wendy. It's a good question, and it's come up. And let me caution you, too, while I'm trying to get a more open discussion so that we've got transparency. I'm flashing back to COVID when they kept it's the flock cameras, it's the data centers where we were just told don't question it. It's got to happen. Let us do our thing, and we get run over that way, and that's never been good in this country ever. I mean, come on, man. These people down in Tuskegee, they said, hey, free doctor visits. Y'all know the story on that, right? Where they were experimenting on people. It's only been a few decades. The government will do this stuff to us. I don't care who's running the show. And we have a right to know ahead of time what's happening. And we just got to demand that now, because once these things are down, they're down. And again, it may change the future for so much better. Everything may be so efficient and cost effective for us. We're going to cure diseases and save little kids from maladies and solve problems that were unsolvable. But at the same time, I feel like Sarah Connor, and I want my robot from the future to help me blow some stuff up. Kyle, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Leland? I hate to change gears on you, but I just wanted to get your opinion on something. Now, everybody I know has been making comments about, especially the Michigan race, where you see these socialist Democrats that are winning over the moderates or the people that have been incumbents, and people were kind of like, is this something to be worried about? I wanted to get your opinion. What do you think about some of that?
Well, I opened the show with a lot of it. I'll revisit it for you, Kyle. I'm of two minds, and I'm not trying to cop out on it. One, it's freaking hilarious. As a show host, I'm loving it. These people are a freaking freak show of entertainment for people that do what I do for a living with the dumb stuff they believe and say. And it's wonderful to watch the Democrats literally put on a jihadi suicide vest and pull the pin on the thing is a wonderful thing. However, as a Cold War baby from the Reagan era that understands the ravages and the seduction that is socialism and communism, I sort of fear for my country that there could be any kind of critical mass where enough voters would go out and vote for this nonsense. And where you saw the win last night in Michigan with the socialists running for the Senate was in the college towns and obviously in the Islamic areas that have so concentrated in Michigan. So it's this weird alliance of people ignorant of economics and history and human nature combined with jihadis that just want to take over everything. And they're riding in the same car, man. They have teamed up in a way that is a threat eventually to this country. I don't think it's existential. It's not right now, but it's manifesting and it's there, and the seeds are being planted, and we're going to reap a harvest down the road if we don't watch out.
Well, it's funny because you'll get this. I hope I explained it good enough, but I tried to explain it to Dixon this morning, and I think I kind of didn't do a good job. But when I see what's going on with the socialists in the Democratic Party, it always reminds me of the scene from The Dark Knight Rises, where the guy that he's trying to take over Wayne Enterprises, and he says, "Where's Bane?" and he just appears, and he goes, "Your plan didn't work. I'm not running the company." And he tells him, he goes, "Stay, I'm in charge." And he puts his hand on his shoulder with that iconic line of, "Do you feel like you're in charge?"
He goes, "Do you feel?" I love that scene. He goes, "Do you feel in control?"
and that's what's so funny is when I look at this, it just screams that Bain is the socialist Democrats and the other guy is the moderate. Like, you thought you could bring this person in, control them, and you gain power, and now you're realizing, no, they used you, and they're going to use your party to try to get into power.
Look, it's the Islam being persistent for 1,400 years in their quest for domination, using these fools that believe in this fantasy land, free stuff of the communists, and once they use that vehicle to get a foothold, they will eat them alive and kill them and throw them off buildings. It's true. It's human history. I don't even have to make that up. That's not a conspiracy theory. That is the long arc of history playing out right now in places like Michigan and New York City and Seattle. And do I need to keep listening? Hey, I hung up on Joe. Sorry, Joe. Your phone was wigging out. I mean, Kyle. Now I got to get to Joe and Coleman. Joe, what's up in Coleman?
I just saw a funny video that you might want to look up. This Democratic candidate for House of Representatives in Hawaii gets his clock cleaned.
And I talked about that yesterday. I can't really play it on the air because it's got a lot of obvious swear words in it. But homeboy just got there was like a ruckus on the beach. I can't even remember how it goes down. And this candidate for Congress decides he's going to threaten everybody and threaten to shoot people and kill them. And some big dude just kind of laid him out. Cold.
Yeah, I mean, he looks physically, he looks about the size of Anthony Weiner.
He's a little dude with a big mouth. Yep.
Yeah, it was so funny. I didn't know if you'd seen it. I missed yesterday, so that was it. It's worth looking up.
Joe, my uncles used to say it like this: his mouth wrote a check, his ass could not cash.
Boy, you got that right. They even showed him like 2 minutes later.
Have you seen the video, AJ?
I did see the video.
Daggers. It's funny.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah,
it's funny.
Good stuff. I love a good ass beating.
Should have duck and move, duck and move, duck and move.
Hey, we had another phrase back in the day. He put something on him Ajax couldn't take off. You remember hearing those old phrases? Before F around and find out there was don't start none, won't be none.
Number space and opportunity.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid. You're running for Congress. You're in this weird bathing suit. I know it's Hawaii. And then you get yourself clocked on, I guess on the internet for everybody to see. Does that help or hurt him in Hawaii? You know, maybe he picked up one of those little tiki torches like on the Brady Bunch. I mean, those little tikis. Remember the tiki when they got cursed? He had the tiki in his pocket. Is that a tiki in your pocket or you're just pissed off to be here? And he got hit with the tiki curse. I don't know. That's all I know about Hawaii, what I saw on that Brady Bunch episode. It's 3:51, Lead on Live, Talk 99.5. Y'all get on back in here, and we'll talk to you about Hueytown Pawn. Tommy reached out to me after I talked about the Glock deal yesterday. Said they got a few left, and he got some new AR-12s in. He's got them in the popular colors again. That was a wildly popular deal. And I'm still thinking now that I'm back home, I got to get over to Hueytown. They're on Brook Lane Drive if you want to get over there. And he's got, by the way, he's got the AR-12s, $279. Can't beat that. You cannot beat that. So you got the AR-12s, $279. Still a few Glocks left, previously owned law enforcement Glocks. By the way, the AR-12s are not pre-owned. There are some pre-owned things there. It is a pawn shop. They bring in stuff every day. But the LE Glocks are, the AR-12s are brand new, just to sort that out. Tommy's always got a deal over there. And anytime you pop in, you can find things that you'll find interesting. And I don't think it's too far out to be talking about hunting season, because some guys spent, you spend a lot of money on those rigs, getting all rigged up and everything you need. Go by and see what they got for you. Sound suppression, that's almost a must nowadays if you're going to be hunting. It is Hueytown Pawn. They're on Brook Lane Drive right there. And guess where? Anybody? Class? Anybody listening? In Hueytown, Brook Lane Drive, Hueytown Pawn. We had an unsolicited call yesterday. One of our callers called in just thrilled with Crocker Moving Services, and they haven't even moved his stuff yet. They just gave him the best price. He called around. He'd been listening to the show. He'd never called the show. It was a cool phone call. That's how Crocker is. They're competitive on price. The 2-hour minimum is just a great way to get a smaller project done, one that doesn't take a whole day. The way they can scale their services for what you need. They're total pros at what they do. They're going to get it done right. Eric just runs a tight ship. That's who you want moving your stuff. So be impressed yourself if you've got any kind of moving to do this summer with CrockerMovingServices.com. CrockerMovingServices.com. Is this Brad? What was the name right there, AJ?
Brad. Yeah, Bradley.
Bradley. Okay. There's a T on there and it threw me off. Bradley, what's up?
Well, I was just saying, thinking you were saying you were feeling a little bit grumpy earlier, and that Haley Stevens out of Michigan lost her primary last night.
Yep.
And it just reminded me, just a few days ago, I don't know if you've heard it or not, the clip of her out on the campaign trail, and the girl sounds just like if she was Matt Foley's sister. Chris Farley's character. It's fantastic. I don't know if y'all might have looked that up, and it's clean. You can play it on the air, but it is great. Good laugh.
I don't know much about that, but I will have to look at it. I'd have to know the original reference point. But this woman was a kook. They have put up some real – SNL's not funny anymore. They don't make funny movies anymore. We have the Democrats right now, and I'm too blessed to be depressed over that, just to be honest with you.
Well, it'll cheer you up for sure.
Thank you, buddy. Good tip. Why is Katie Britt weighing in on Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry? I just keep seeing her face pop up. I think it's funny. TMZ's got a story about it. I don't know what this is about. She may be right. It is weird. But of all the things going on in the world, how does she get in the middle of that? Just asking. Back in a minute, Lead on Live. Y'all stay tuned.